statement in. If they had a clear statement that God said He was going to deliver them out of that fiery furnace, they would have said, God is going to deliver us out of that fiery furnace, and ended it. But they went on to say, if He don't, it's going to be okay anyway. As the song says, if I go, if I stay, I'm a winner either way. This is the mindset that people's got to understand. They went by what God's Word said before. And they drove on it, even though God, I don't think, spoke directly to them and said, I'm going to deliver you out of this fiery furnace. I don't think He did, or they wouldn't have put that last statement right there to the king. If He don't, it ain't going to matter. If I die right here in this fiery furnace, it's going to be okay. Because if God would have told them He's going to deliver it out of, if they had enough faith to stand before that king and that fiery furnace to say, it don't matter, they would have known, if they'd heard from God that He was going to deliver them, they would have stopped right there and said, I'm going to come out of here and I'll smell like smoke. But they didn't. They said, I may die here. Why? Because they know what the prophets and Word had said before, that as long as I don't bow a knee down to any other image than God, God will take care of me, and if I die, I'll still be all right. Some of you are looking for answers from God on what to do. You got them in the Word. You got answers already in the Word. If He ain't told you to preach or whatever, you still got things in the Word that you know to do. You know what's required of you, and you're not doing it. You're not grabbing a hold of it, taking the opportunity before you right now. You would rather run into the store, grab what you got, and get out, than when before you go in the store saying, God, if there be somebody here, if there's an opportunity, use me. That I can plant the seed, or maybe I can water the seed, that it can be reaped, or any other thing. If there be one here needs to be healed, you said them gifts is in me, I'm a willing vessel. I'll pray for them in front of 1,000 if that's what you want. But instead we're scared. We're letting the devil hold us captive in that web or in that possible warfare that we're not fighting back. And we're not taking advantage of opportunity. And this is serious, people. This is serious. And here's your answer just as much as Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They had no direct answers from God that they were going to be delivered from the fiery furnace. Or they would have said, if we don't deliver us, we'll be all right anyway. They went by what the Word said. They knew the Word. They were very wise men. They knew what the prophets had said before. As long as I don't bow down to another image, God will take care of me. They knew that. And they said, no matter what, I'll be all right. If we would just go by what God says in the Word, then He can begin to add to us. He can begin to grow us as individuals and as a church. But what are we waiting on? Are we waiting on God? Are we trying to roll out a fleece that's like, Gideon did, waiting on Him to show us, even though He showed us so many signs it's unbelievable? Is that what we're waiting on? Are we waiting on God to send an angel down and tell us? Are we waiting on Him to bring us a dream? Or are we waiting on anything else? When I told you before, and I'll about guarantee you every one of you have to say, God ain't never come and got you up out of the sea. And that ain't come from me. I can't control the Spirit of God. I cannot control Him. He's not coming after you. He's saying, you're going to have to come to me. You're going to have to come to me. You're going to have to come to me and my terms and my opportunities and work for me. But if you don't start taking a hold of the opportunities that's before you and getting up every day and saying, God, whatever opportunity you got, I want to do it. I will. Help me. Now some of these things, it's my weak point, but you can help me. But if you don't, guys, as we said at the very beginning, you're born at such a time as this. But you cannot be protected in your house, King. It's going to be destroyed. It's going to be destroyed if you don't take advantage of the opportunities before you. If we don't start stepping out and quit holding ourselves back. We got to quit waiting on somebody else to stir us up. We got to quit waiting on God to stir us up. We're going to start encouraging ourselves. We're going to start lifting ourselves up. God didn't put us in this shape. He didn't bring us down. He wanted us to keep a zeal and excitement about Him. He didn't put us here. And He's saying, you're going to have to get yourself out now. If you'll come, I'll meet you. But if you sit there, I'm not going to come drag you out of that seat now. I'm not going to do it. And the opportunity's before you. Now get up out of that seat, start praising and worshiping me like I deserve, entering these gates with praise and thanksgiving, and doing what you know to do. You know what the Word says for you to do. You're to speak good about me. You're to pray. You're to fast. You're to read the Word. You're to come into my house with praise and thanksgiving. This is my house. You should be worshiping me with all the heart that you've got. Yeah, it may be full of troubles, but still give Him everything that you've got. But not sit there in a form of godliness, denying the power such of, and expect God to come and rescue us every time. Opportunity is before us right now. Opportunity. And are we wasting it? Because it's being recorded. It's being recorded now. It's being wrote down, word for word, heart by heart. And you know, just like talking with Jeremy, he says he's got so many people, I'll go with you, I'll do this, I'll do that, but they never show up. Are we the same way? We rode to hell of what song says, pay good intentions. They people's got great intentions, but they never take the opportunity. They don't. Their mouth says it, but their heart don't never move. We all want to do good for God. In our mind, in our mouth. But we just can't get our heart to go. We just can't get our flesh to do it. But we're blowing opportunity. And God's saying, this is serious. This is serious. I've called y'all to a high calling. I've called y'all to many great things. But have you taken advantage of the opportunity? And how many times have you walked by an opportunity and never even realized it? Never even recognized that there was an opportunity right there beside of you. A chance to do a miracle. A chance to have someone saved. A chance for something. And He's saying, if you don't get out of this place, if you don't learn to grab a hold of yourself and run with these things, it's not going to be good. Because you're born for such a time as this. And it's time that you grab a hold of the opportunities before you and get yourself moving, get yourself going, get yourself excited about me, and start realizing that I've got it all under control. At first I heard about Jordan, I cried for about 2 hours. I went to our church website and listened to Brian sing Jesus, just a mention of His name. And after 2 hours I stood up and said, enough's enough. It's time, Satan. I've had enough of you. I knew you was coming after my family. I knew it. I told my wife 2 weeks before she was coming after my family. You were. But I know it's going to be all right. Because every enemy that's come against us has looked horrible. But it's always turned out okay. It has. And your enemies will too. But only when you trust God and you just say, Lord, it's yours. And you just say, it will all work out together to good. I'm not going to lay here and cry and bellyache and wonder why and go all to pieces. But it's time that we grab a hold of it and run with what God's wanting to do, people. It's time. It's time. It's time. Matthew 11:20 through 24 says this. Then began he to upbraid the cities wherein most of the mighty works were done, because they repented not. Woe unto thee, Zoarim! Woe unto thee, Bethsaida! For if the mighty works which were done in you had been done in Tyre and Sidon, they would have repented long ago in sackcloth and ashes. But I say unto you, it shall be more tolerable for Tyre and Sidon in the day of judgment than for you. And thou, Zapharaniah, whatever, which art exalted unto heaven,